Hello, my name is Anjhani Mcgee. I am your social worker, and I want to thank you for meeting with me today through telehealth. How are you?
Oh, I'm good, Anjane. Thanks so much. I really appreciate my doctor facilitating this. There's like kind of been some event-based stuff that's happened recently. Just like a quick background. I'm 38. Again, my name is George. I'm single. I'm heterosexual. I've never been married. And I work for a school, and like 3 weeks ago on the way to school, I had a really bad car accident. I'm taking the same on-ramp that I do every day to the freeway, and I work in administration. I'm driving up the ramp, and there's this big, like those big tractor trailers, right? So
Yeah.
I'm merging, and either he didn't see me, and he swerves right into me. He crumples the left side of my car. I go off in the berm. I almost flip, and like besides like a little whiplash and an abrasion to my knee, I'm not really hurt, but like I'm all shaken up. And I got checked out at the ER. They said I was fine, but I asked my doctor to hook me up with some type of services because I just got a promotion at the elementary school. I'm a teacher. I'm a principal now, which is something that like I've always wanted to do. And I've been working here for like over a decade. And I'm always the one that like I show up with energy. I love talking to people. I'm collaborative. And then suddenly 4 weeks ago, I have this terrible accident, and I'm all messed up. Like I've been drinking. I can't relate to my coworkers. I get to school and I cry in my office. And suddenly I got this new principal job that I just can't do. And I just don't know what to do about it.
Oh, thank you for sharing that, George. So it seems like you have a couple of things going on. I am happy that you are okay from the car accident, so I am definitely glad that you are here today. Well, before I get into some more, I do want to go over some confidentiality and like a safety statement. Is that okay? Okay, so I
Sure.
want to let you know that everything that we talk about is private and confidentiality. So this means that I won't share what you tell me with anyone else unless it's at a safety risk. So dealing with things that like you want to harm yourself or harm somebody else, I will have to report that. And then going forward, I just want to make sure that you're comfortable. So like where we're at right now within the telehealth, are you okay with this? And everything is fine.
Yes, I prefer telehealth over in-person visits. And the other, questions that, I had were like, what are my rights as a client and, like referral options. So like for whatever reason, if I wanted to switch therapists, would I have that option?
Yes, yes, you will have that option. That wouldn't necessarily be up to me. That is your own. So if you feel like, okay, this is not working for me, just let me know. I can give you a referral to my department, or if you say, okay, I want to go to another organization, that's completely fine. It's up to you. So it's no like
Okay,
requirement.
that makes
as-
sense.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Any other questions before I move forward?
Not really. I mean, you covered confidentiality, you kind of covered the boundaries of like yours and mine. The only other thing that I was curious about is like about my records. So like if you make records, do I have access to that?
Yes, you do have access to all your records. So it would kind of
Okay,
like be
great.
a process. So like you might have to email our department to say, hey, I want to access these records. And they will like come back with you and say, okay, do you want to email? Do you want them in the mail? Do you want to pick them up? So that's completely your choice. But you have access to all information that we do.
Sure. That makes sense.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. So, when you were saying earlier, I heard that you were 38 years old. You are single, you never been married, and then recently you were in a car accident. Okay.
Yes.
And then you're working at a school right now.
Hmm.
Okay. And then you are a principal at your school. I believe that's what I heard correctly.
Yes, and that's new. So that's like it was like I think it was the Friday before the Monday of my accident that I got this promotion. And I got like a brand new office. I had to move absolutely everything, and I've worked for this for years. And Friday was great. Got in my office Monday morning on the way to school. Boom, car accident.
Okay. So it was like a completely switch. Like just like have you ever had a switch like that before happen? Like before this situation happened?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I would say it would bring me back to college. I had a really bad breakup with my girlfriend at the time. And I remember like I didn't go to class for maybe like a couple weeks. And I think I failed a class that semester. And just like now, I started drinking like a full bottle of wine a night. And that's out of character. And the only time I drank that much was right about that time in college when I broke up.
Okay. Okay, thank you for sharing that. So it sounds like that when this switch happened, it kind of took you back to that time. Am I correct?
Yeah, it felt really embarrassing. Like this is stuff I'm supposed to be good at. I've been doing for years, and like I don't know how to handle myself with my coworkers. I feel super awkward. Like I'm not sleeping right. I'm not eating enough, losing weight. I think people would call that self-care, and I just have not been doing that. And at the same time, it feels like I'm coming into this brand new job that it's almost like it's a different version of me that has to do it. And I don't know if I can do this job.
Okay, okay. So it seems like we can have some things to work on. So my role is just to kind of support you and work with you and help you like identify different goals, needs, and strengths. And I'm just here to listen and to help you figure out some things. I know that I heard some major things that I know that you would like to discuss. Because this session is just kind of us just kind of getting to know each other and just seeing what do you want to work on in the future.
Yeah, and that's kind of why I brought this up to my doctor in the beginning, and that's who sent me this referral. Because what's been happening every time I get in the car and I explain this to him, I open the door and I kind of have this like hyper vigilant flashback of like, am I going to get run off the road? Am I going to almost die again? Like and something weird happened is now every time I have to go to school, it used to take me 30 minutes on the highway. And now I can't, I'm so scared of driving that I don't even go on the highway. I have to take surface streets, and then it's an hour commute. So my commute has doubled. And, I have these weird like nightmares almost from the trauma of the car accident. That's something that the doctor thought would be good to kind of explore with you.
Okay, thank you for sharing that. So, have you ever worked with a social worker or a therapist before?
I have not.
Okay, so this would be your first time. So,
Hmm.
what has helped you in the past feel supported?
In the past, it's been my work environment. That's kind of like what I know. It would be like my grounding is in my school. So it feels like I've been taken out of some of my like comfort areas, and I don't have the support system that I used to have. And I have good friends at the school, but it seems like recently I've been pushing them away.
Okay, okay. Is that something that you do often, is push away?
No. I'm usually very friendly, but now my friends call, I won't return their texts. I have like 20 texts in my messages that like are unopened, and that gives me anxiety. And then I'm worried about texting them back. And I've usually been pretty good, but now I don't know if I don't want to talk to them or I don't know how to. There's just kind of like this block with communication.
Okay. Have you ever had any assessments done on like anxiety or depression or anything within that order with your doctor?
Yes, and that was the most recent. So I've never been diagnosed with depression or anxiety before. And then I went into the doctor as a follow-up, and he started asking me these questions. It was like a mental physical exam. He's like, how often do you drink? How often do you sleep? Have you lost weight? And I checked all these boxes and I got to the end of it and he said, George, I really think that you have anxiety and depression. And that's what he diagnosed me with at that visit. So that's kind of new to begin with. And now it's like living this life. And he mentioned, something of a trauma disorder. And he said something of PTSD. And that's something that, like, I don't know, like cops and military guys get. Like I wasn't in a battle. I just had a car accident. And now it kind of feels like my life's flipped upside down.
Okay, so I heard that you said like, with PTSD and depression and anxiety, um, what information do you know about that? Like have
Nothing.
you, okay, okay. So is that something in the future that you would like to learn more about to see why you were
Yeah,
diagnosed?
100%.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
So does the doctor have like did the doctor put any more referrals out?
No, this is kind of all brand new. The first stop was to see you and then kind of gain your advice to see where I should go from there.
Okay. So my next question is, what are you looking to gain out of coming to therapy?
Oh, my biggest goal right now would be to get back in my car and be able to drive from my house to the school on the highway without totally freaking out.
Okay. And as of right now, you're at home? Like, are you on leave or are you still working?
That's a good question because I'm technically still working and I used up all of my sick days after the accident. And now I've taken 4 personal days from work and I can't miss any more.
Okay. So, how are you planning to go to work? What's your plan with that?
Well, the only plan that I have right now is to wake up, and usually it's hungover because I drink a lot of wine. And then I have a long commute. And so, like, usually I'm late, right? So it's like, it's hard to wake up to begin with. And it's hard to wake up when you're a little hungover. And then it takes me an extra 30 minutes on surface streets. So I'm driving an hour. So I'll just like, it is an effort to get to school, to jump in the car, drive what I got to drive. And when I get to school, it's like 8:45 right before the bell rings, and I'm exhausted.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing that. So I hear a lot of things that we can work on in the future. Um, and I am excited to work with you about it. I hope that we can get some things done and I can be as much a support to you as I can. We are wrapping up here. Do you have any other questions? Do you have any more concerns?
Um, Not really. I mean, you've covered everything from like, the scope and, the how this works as telehealth, which is, very helpful for me. And on top of that, the records, because I'm a school teacher, I'm a nerd, I'm a principal, right? I like to read. So, just to make sure, because I want to make sure that I understand what the diagnoses are, that I can have my records and that's helpful. But that's all I really had.
Okay, well, how did you feel about our conversation today?
You know what? Walking in, I was super nervous, but after talking to you, Anjhani, this was fantastic. I feel really good.
Okay, sounds good. So let's schedule for our next meeting. And then I can email you my calendar, and then from there we can keep based in communication. How does that sound?
Sure. That sounds good. And do how does communication work? Do I email you or text you?
So you can email me or text me. I will put both informations on the email when I send it to you. And then from there, I also have my office number that you can contact as well. So I have
Okay.
three different type of communications where you can get in touch with me. In case of an emergency or anything happens like that, you can always text me if you need to cancel a session or anything within that order.
All right. That makes sense. And you know what? I really appreciate our time together, Anjane, and I look forward to seeing you in the near future.
No problem. Thank you so much, George. I'll see you next time.